Hello all, welcome to the new video. Here in this video, I'm going to share the interview questions along with the answers. As in the earlier video, I already shared the questions. I hope you tried yourself and found some responses, okay? And I'm going to share my responses in this particular interview questions. And without further ado, let's enter into the video and discuss. I wanted to share interview experience at the end. Initially, we'll discuss the questions and answers. Later, I will discuss my point of opinion in this particular interview and what might be the result, like expected result, and what might be the some learning or else some feedback for me as well as you guys. I will going to provide. Okay. The first question was, can you brief about your profile and the experience? Make sure within like take for 5 minutes to cover your background, experience as well as day-to-day activities. Come in a manner where you currently working and later your previous company experience and your current day-to-day activities, okay? And I think this is the some good approach, or else majorly try to focus on the current company. For the namesake, include your old company if you are like worked in some 2 to 3 companies or like that, or else one company, and majorly focus on the first company. I answer in such a way like I have over 3 years of experience in DevOps and DevSecOps, working on automating infrastructure, setting up CI/CD pipelines, and improving security best practices in cloud environments. I have hands-on experience with AWS, majorly as a cloud service provider, and Azure and GCP. I know and I haven't worked on that, and I use the tools Terraform, Ansible, Kubernetes, and Jenkins. I in my previous role, I worked on designing CI/CD pipelines, managing containerized applications using Kubernetes, and automating the infrastructure provisioning by using a Terraform and Ansible. And I worked in one of the project where I migrated the monolithic application into a microservices running, which was running in a Kubernetes, AWS Kubernetes service. I set up the Jenkins pipeline with automated testing and security scans, ensuring faster and more reliable deployments. I also worked on a log monitoring and observing using well, observability using Prometheus and Grafana. And as a part of that, I have experience of implementation security best practices within the DevOps workflow, and majorly that includes secret management using some Vault, HashiCorp Vault, AWS Secret Manager, and container security by using Trivi or Snake as a external toolkit, and infrastructure compliance audits by using the same tools will work for that. And I'm very much passionate about and automating the cloud environments and optimizing the DevOps workflows uh, to improve the system reliability and efficiency. This is how I answer this particular question. And moving to the further question, how do you ensure the quality and reliability of your CI/CD pipeline, and what are the metrics do you use to track that particular thing? Uh, to ensure the quality and reliability of your CI/CD pipeline, I majorly focus on testing, like automated testing, code quality checks, and branching strategy approach, and progressive deployment, and finally monitoring and logging. I make sure there is for testing purpose, there is a a testing checks is included as a secure tool. We can say I explained my tools like a SonarQube, Trivi for SAST implementation or source code analysis part, and we use code quality checks. Majorly, SonarQube can achieve this particular thing, and we can detect if any vulnerability is found within the source code, and after that we implement a branching strategy, and based upon that there will be a approval gates will be there, and we will follow a source code branching strategy, where git branching strategy we can say. It will ensure the code is merging into a source code like existing code, and there will be a approval is required, like manual approval is required before deploying into a production. This is how this branching strategy works, and some deployment strategies like canary deployment and blue green deployment based upon our future requirements. And as I said, monitoring and logging, where Prometheus and Grafana can be used for pipeline it can be integrated into a pipeline for monitoring and logging purpose. And moving to the next question, how do you design a CI/CD pipeline for microservices architecture application? Yeah, for designing a CI/CD, especially for microservices, it should be independent of deployments. There should be a scalability and resilience, we can say. Resilience should be there. First of all, we need to ensure there have a dedicated code repository for source code management, and whatever the source code tool we are using, let's say GitHub or Bitbucket. In my project we are using GitHub, and we need to make sure dedicated source code repository for that, and we need to make sure there is a build stage. We can use build a Docker image there itself. Use Docker for containerization of especially for microservices projects applications. We can use the Docker for making the containerization of the application across the environments, and we can implement the unit test cases, and we can perform the security scans, and in within that stage itself we can implement and perform this particular tests and scans. And after that, a test stage will come, where we can integrate some quality analysis. As I said, SonarQube was the one of the tool, Trivi was the one of the tool, especially for container vulnerability scanning purpose, and Sneak also can be used, Fortify can be used. Different tools will be there, check marks, and we need to make sure there is a deployment strategy, where we can use Kubernetes for the deployment. I explained my own project, like whatever the project I worked in the organization, where we are using a Kubernetes, and we are using Helm charts for customizing the deployments, and for deployment strategies we are using blue green deployment blue green as well as canary deployment models, and we are going to set up finally monitoring and alert as a robust what we can say microservice architecture design, where it will gather Prometheus is used to gather the metrics and logs. It will give to a Grafana as a input, and Grafana will visualizes the all information in the dashboards. And how do you handle your rollbacks in disaster recovery within a CI/CD pipeline? Yeah, first thing, we can enable a versioning, where always we need to make sure we need to tag the version of the Git. Based on that, we can maintain certain rollbacks. That is the best practice. And we can like have a what we can say backup within the S3 and more than two resources. Sorry for the voice. More than two regions. Why? Because if there is a some disaster, for especially disaster recovery, if one availability goes down, we can opt for another availability or region. Okay, so we need to make sure that particular backups should be there. And I think those are the 2 pointers majorly I focused: versioning, backups, and one more thing, immutable infrastructure. Okay, immutable in the sense, after deploying the application, the nature, based on the nature of the like application, it is not going to change the infrastructure. Okay, and further question was, what is the different ways to trigger a Jenkins build? To trigger a Jenkins build, I explained in such a way, like I remember only 3 ways at that point. Later I get to know there are multiple ways. I explained about the GitHub webhooks, where we can use GitLab also. GitLab also supports webhooks, and we can trigger whenever the code is pushed to the Git repository, that if we configure GitHub webhooks, it will automatically trigger a build. That is the one thing. And pole SEM. Pole SEM, by using cron syntax, we need to, while using pole SEM, we need to specify the cron syntax. Okay, cron syntax in the sense, let's say if we wanted to run a build at a specific time or else some frequent times, then it will trigger a build at that particular time. And I observed one a key difference between the GitLab CI/CD and Jenkins CI/CD. If we set up a pole SCM like cron syntax, if we set up, then in Jenkins, whenever there is a update in the Git repository, there is a one push in the Git repository. After that only this particular pole SCM syntax works. Okay, that means that cron syntax works. In Jenkins, sorry, in GitLab CI/CD, I observed one thing, like key difference was, whenever we set a cron syntax, let's say tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning, you need to run a pipeline. Irrespective of new code commit or new push received to the Git repository, GitLab will perform the job at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay, but in Jenkins, what it happens was, it will checks whether the code is updated or not before 9 o'clock. Okay, then only it will commit a code. Sorry, it will trigger a build. Okay, I think you got a key difference. I found this thing interestingly. You can check if you can try also. Okay, this is the one key difference. And there is a by using I mean, I get to know in the interview, I think these are the two answers I gave. And one more thing, manually, by going to the Jenkins UI, we can trigger. Okay, these are the 3 ways. And later I get to know there is a Jenkins REST API, where we can use API calls for triggering the builds, like from externally. We can use that particular thing. Okay, and oh yeah, I think these are the things. And next question was, how do you implement a CI/CD pipeline using a Ansible? This question I was not able to answer. I answered in such a way, like where the Ansible placeholder will comes in a Jenkins CI/CD pipeline, and but the expected answer is quite different. I will explain. Wait. First, we need to install the dependencies, like whatever the dependencies, like Docker, Kubernetes, before using a Ansible playbook. Okay, then we need to write a Ansible playbook, Ansible roles for deploying any of these services, let's say some microservices. And we need to integrate Ansible with Jenkins or whatever the pipeline we are using, GitLab CI/CD or GitHub Actions, for automatic deployments. I think, then in that case, I think the same response what I also gave, But I thought the question in this way, like by using Ansible playbook itself, we need to manage the Jenkins. Okay, but after integrating into a Jenkins, Ansible is managing the Jenkins, right? That is how it works. I mean, whatever the explanation I have given, this is how the expected answer, and I think almost met their expectation then answer. And how do you, sorry, you have an Ansible playbook. This is kind of scenario based question, and it was saving a specific, the particular Ansible is saving in a specific host. How do you troubleshoot that particular issue? This question, I was at that moment I was not audible properly, and later after the clarification I was not able to answer that particular question. Okay, and this, I mean, the answer for this particular question was, we can use, there is a connectivity, like in which server it can be running, and we can also debug. Okay, and there is a inventory file within the Ansible, and we need to make sure that inventory, within the inventory file, that a host should be mapping correctly or not. Okay, and we can check the SSH permissions, sorry, SSH keys, and some root user permissions, sudo permissions. This is how we can debug if the Ansible playbook is saving only for a specific host. Okay, and there is a command like Ansible all -m ping to check the connectivity, like in which host it can be, I mean, is it able to communicate with the host or not. And for debugging purpose, we can use a command like Ansible -playbook, whatever the playbook we have, playbook.yml, and -vvv dot. It will, I mean, it will debug, and it will give some logs. Okay, and later we can verify the inventory file that will ensures the correct host mapping is done properly or not. And this is how I need to answer. And if you have some clear understanding about that particular question, please let me know in the comments. By that it will be helpful for me as well, and some users as well, subscribers, sorry. And moving to the next question, what is the difference between Terraform Apply and Terraform Apply Auto Approve? There is a one key difference. Terraform Apply, what it does, or what it does was, Terraform Apply is basically, it will first shows whatever, let's say by using Terraform file, we are creating one EC2 instance, okay, resource. Terraform Apply, what it exactly does was, it will just shows what it was performing, okay, what it achieves. But Terraform Apply Auto Approve, what it does was, it will directly deploys, I mean deploys in the sense, it will directly goes and create a infrastructure. Not only infrastructure, for just example, I took a EC2 instance, whatever the infrastructure it might be, whatever the policies or something changing, or user creation, whatever the may be. Without confirmation, it will automatically changes the like infrastructure, we can say. Okay, but in Terraform Apply, it is not going to change, just it will going to show. Okay, that is the key difference. And how do you handle dependencies between the Terraform resources? I think I not answered correctly. Later I get to know, and the correct answer for this was, we can use implicit dependencies by transferring the resources. Let me break it down in pieces for clear understanding for you. If you see, in Terraform, resources are the things that you create within the cloud. Let's say, for example, some database, some server, some network, like that. Some resources depends on the other resources. Let's say, for example, you cannot create any server before creating some network. Okay, And Terraform handles the dependencies. How automatically it will handles. I will come how what if not going to handle. Okay. Initially, basically the nature of the Terraform was it will automatically understand the dependencies in like major cases we can say. And uh, what Terraform it does was Terraform knows, let's say if there is a AWS instance which is depends on AWS VPC. Okay, obviously VPC should be there for instance, and this particular thing is called as implicit dependency. Okay, that means Terraform understands its dependencies automatically. This is a implicit dependency. There is a explicit dependency also. What exactly it does was sometimes Terraform doesn't automatically detect their particular dependencies. In that particular case, we need to inform to the Terraform to wait using dependencies on wait using dependencies on means whatever the Terraform is dependent, we need to that need to be waited till that particular dependency is created. Okay, that is how it works. We need to explicitly specify depends on equals to that particular thing, let's say AWS VPC, like that. Now what exactly the Terraform does? Terraform, now it knows we need to first create a VPC server, then create a first create a VPC, later it will create a server, some EC2 instance, like that. Okay, and yeah, I think you got some brief idea on this particular thing. And basically Terraform, if many of the cases majorly Terraform understands automatically the dependencies. If not understands, we need to explicitly define, like depends on, by mentioning that particular point. Yeah, I think we are in the right track. uh, I think these are the some inputs from my end, like how I responded, and to be frank, I genuinely shared my feedback, responses. And let me talk more about the experience. Like, I think I already covered like what I answered in that way. Regarding this particular thing, like how do you implement CI/CD pipeline using a Ansible? That I understood in a wrong way. And regarding this particular thing, Terraform dependencies, I answered wrongly. Okay, and there is a one question I said. Sorry, I don't know the answer. Let me show you. Mm. Yeah, this is the one. Seventh question. Playbook which is saving India specific first, and how to troubleshoot you. Like I didn't even clearly listen that particular question. I tried to ask again also, but unfortunately the HR is involved in the discussion. Like why you are asking each and every question like multiple times, like that. But to be frank, I think one or two questions I asked her to repeat. So HR said that word. Okay. Then I said, okay, I sorry from my end, and I don't know the answer. I not directly said. I took just 10 minutes of time. 10 seconds of time, and I said, I don't know. And as per the conversation in the interview, yeah, it went well, and I see there is no much engagement or some kind of repo between the candidate as a me and the interviewer, but it went well. I think I met some of their expectations, and at the end, they gave like one feedback kind of like appreciation, I can say. They said like you seems to be very confident, and yeah, let's see for the update what they are going to, I mean, team is going to decide. I will update you like that, the HR said. I think that is the one of the what we can say positive sign or some positive indication. And one more thing, he said like she said like make sure to arrange the things properly whenever there is an interview. Why? Because what happened in this particular interview was there is some noise disturbance. I think I already shared the entire story about that particular thing, so make sure you don't repeat that particular mistake. Okay. And also one more thing, this confidence matters. If you don't know, tell them like just I was not aware of that particular answer. As per your knowledge, try to answer. Okay. No one is going to like judge you, or maybe your expertise in another skill, okay, what they are not requiring. Okay. And it might be fits to the another job position. Okay. So don't be regretted if you fail, or else if you not answered properly in the interview. And that is the one key point I wanted to add. And if you are attending for interviews, all the best, and stay tuned for more videos. If you have any questions or anything, if you wanted to me ask, please let me know. Okay. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.